Merry Christmas. Merry everything. Happy everything. My people, my people, my people. My people, my people, my people. What's happening? Yo, welcome back to the Tim Black Show. We're doing this Friday. Couple days after Christmas. We're live, yo. We are live. We are live. What are we doing here? What are we doing? What are we doing here? We're live on Facebook. We're on even X, Facebook, X, and YouTube. Come on, man. This is crazy. It's not looking right. That's okay. It's good enough. What's up? How you doing? How are you? Man, what's up, man? We got a lot going on, man. I want to say what's up to my people on YouTube. YouTube comment section. What's up, baby? My moderators, Buck Bewley and Black Mamba in the house. Thank you so much for what you do. Give it up for them. Helping out on the Tim Black platform. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate ya. Want to say what's up to my people that keep the lights on around this joint. What's up to Tim Black's Wolfpack? How y'all doing? VIPs, stand up. Give it up for them. Yeah. What we do. My people that are tuning in for the first time, this is a political show. U.S. politics, that's what we cover here on this channel. We also cover breaking news. And we got a lot to cover tonight, man. What's up, people? What's up? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How you doing? I feel good. How do you feel? You all right? Yeah, you feeling good? Hope you're feeling very good. Hope everybody's had a peaceful couple of days. You know what I'm saying? My girls are happy, I'm happy. If my girls and my boys are happy, I'm happy. That's right. So Tim Black's over here doing what he has to do, man. It's great, man. It's a great thing, man, when you got family. Yo, shout out to my sister and my brother if you're watching, and my mom. I don't know, sometimes she checks in. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Man, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. So tonight, man, we got content. That's what we got. We got content, yo. We have content. We got stuff to cover, man. Where do we even begin, Johnson? This is so much to do. Look, man, there's been a lot of conversation. Let's jump right out the room. Let's get it going. You know, let's do that. Let's get going. If you need to reach me, I'll be kicking the establishment in the ass. That's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm going to be kicking the establishment in the ass. That's my job. Just keep doing like that. Just just doing like this. That's what I do on the Tim Black Show. I just kick them in the ass all day. And I try to leave space for my friends to come through. B1, stand up. That's it. B1, stand up. Out. I see you. Lean back. Lean back. Lean back. Lean back. Oh, man. Do we want to get this out the way first? Let's get this out the way since we're so pumped up. You know, maybe I'll jump into this first of all. Okay, so we covered Fat Joe. Fat Joe crashing out. Fat Joe crashing out, going up against an entire lineage. Man, dude, do you realize how many Black Americans there are? Why would you do that? Why? With them bad knees. How you gonna have two left feet going after Black Americans, man? This is dumb. I wage war against Black Americans. Okay, so let me update you guys. If you don't know, go throw a rock. You'll find a video covering this. Fat Joe, now I think I understand why Fat Joe decided he'd crash out going after the FBAs. I saw this clip. Shout out to this young brother on TikTok.
So I think I know why Fat Joe was so angry. Did you know he dropped an album this year? Like 12 days ago? I think he's mad because literally no one's listening to it or no one even knew it happened.
There it is! Fat Joe dropped an album this year. I didn't know he dropped an album. I thought he stopped rapping 15 years ago. He still raps? He be rapping gifts. Now it's him, he rap lyrics. What? So, I'm stunned. Tell us more, young man, with the perm.
It's really hard to pull numbers because no one's listening to it, but I decided to go to YouTube because he has like 1 million subscribers. These are terrible numbers for someone with 1 million subscribers. Yeah, that's not really good.
And you know what? I want to verify that because these numbers look so low. I said, what is he talking about?
If you go on Spotify, literally he has 7 million monthly listeners and none of those songs are even in his popular list. But it's not shocking because most of the music that is in his most popular is stuff from 2002 to 2006 and one song from 2017. Again, he's irrelevant, so he's angry that his music is...
Now, I don't want to say, I don't want to go that far. I don't want to say the brother's irrelevant. We're talking about him. If he was irrelevant, you wouldn't be talking about him. I wouldn't be talking about him. Nobody will be talking about him. See, we're not going to go that far. This is what happens when you're having an argument or when you have a debate with someone, a disagreement. Sometimes you take cheap shots that are unnecessary. If he was irrelevant, Lord Jamar wouldn't be addressing him. Tariq wouldn't be addressing him. Luke Campbell wouldn't be defending him. And everyone who's trying to take advantage of whatever side this is. So Luke Campbell, Uncle Luke got beef still with Tariq and FBA. And so he's jumping on Fat Joe's side, which is a horrible side to be on. He can't even get his past label mates, Cuban links, to ride with him. That's how bad it is. It's bad blood all in the terror squad. This is inside baseball for people that are old as hell like myself. Because you remember when Cuban links came out, there was, the terror squad. So the point is this. He is not irrelevant. He just, he's wrong as hell. He's very wrong. He's not irrelevant. He's gaslighting, and he's doing it on purpose because people want their numbers to go up. And you get your numbers go up by relevancy. And that's what I kind of concluded from this, right? So this guy's not wrong.
Isn't charting and no one cares that he made a new album. And I wouldn't be so mean to Fat Joe if he didn't decide to attack the culture that he's not a part of.
Yeah, so look, I'm not mad at you for saying it. I just want to correct the record, okay? Check this out. So I saw this and I said, okay, let me go do some investigation for myself. I go to the Fat Joe channel on YouTube. I encourage you all to take a look at it. He has his own channel, may take a little bit of digging because it's not very popular. And that's what's crazy about it. How can this channel not be popular when he has 2 million subscribers? It's like 1.87. That's a lot of subscribers. And then you look and see his music is not doing well. I mean, tens of thousands of views is not a lot for 2,000 subscribers. I'm sorry, 2 million subscribers. That's not a lot. And this is the weirdest thing, right? There's a song on there called, what's the name of this song? It's called Made a Call to Chris Rock. The World Changed Me. Made a Call to Chris Rock. You can hear it. It's the first track when you sort by most recent. Sort by most recent, most current track. It's called Made a Call to Chris Rock. The World Changed Me. I think the name of his album was The World Changed Me. And it's the craziest thing. It's a monologue, guys. And in the monologue, Chris Rock is talking about what? Black music. Black music. This, you can't make this up. And Chris Rock says, he's talking about black men and how black men created hip hop, jazz, rock and roll, and the blues. The monologue says black men have created these art forms, and that these art forms were created by black men at a time when black men were enslaved. Only hip hop is the only art form that black men created, were able to create as free men. And I'm like, I don't understand why, I don't get it. Why is Joe jumping out the gym talking about Puerto Ricans created hip hop, not black Americans? But then he has on this track, on his YouTube, a monologue, a speech by Chris Rock saying black Americans created hip hop. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Does that make sense to you? Is there a reason? Like, that don't seem logical. Then I go on, I listen a little further. At the very end of it, he says, and no one exerts that freedom like Fat Joe. He said black men created hip hop is the first art created by black men while they were free men. And then he says, and no one exerts that freedom like Fat Joe. And it goes off. Now I'm gonna ask you to help me out. I'm a product of Prince George's County Public School System. I did a little bit of technical training, computer training here and there. Northern Virginia Community College, University of Maryland, Prince George's Community College. I don't even have an associate's. Did some writing here and there, took a couple writing classes, advanced English and what have you. Here's my thing. What the hell is Joe doing? Yeah, maybe you can clear it up for me. How am I supposed to take this? Everybody trying to defend Joe. We got Dr. Umar jumping out the gym. Dr. Umar says, look, hey, Joe, the problem with Puerto Ricans is you black, but you don't want to claim black. You want to claim something else, and now you want to come back and claim hip-hop. You can't do that. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, nah, I'm Puerto Rican, bro. I'm Puerto Rican, yeah. Puerto Rican. You can't do that and then jump back over and then try to claim. So look, man, we're going to be very specific. Math Hoffa took down the video. My understanding, I didn't go to Math Hoffa's channel, but my understanding is Math Hoffa took down the video that had caused all this ruckus. If that's true, I don't know. All I can say is, what a way to start the year. If Fat Joe did all this to get some attention, maybe out of frustration, maybe he's been watching. He has been teaming up with the Democratic Party. This is what the Democratic Party does, man. They blame you for doing the thing they're already doing. He says, oh, FBA's creating division. Meanwhile, he creates division himself and tries to capitalize off of the notoriety, off of the licks, the clicks, the whatever. And Joe, it's just a sad thing, bro. It's sad. It's sad that we stoop to this level. You are projecting the same tactics of the party that you were campaigning for. And since when the hip-hop feel a need? Well, I guess I know when. I'm sorry. Didn't Diddy start this with hip-hop campaigning with political figures? Anyway, look, that's my surmise. That's how I summarize this thing. That's my update on this. Fat Joe, record went flop. Then Fat Joe, jaws won't stop. He's been on this beef, this tear for quite a amount of time, 6 months or so. But I don't know. Sometimes you just step in it, you know? And I think Fat Joe stepped in it. No, he stepped in it. You know, I saw the same thing with John Leguizamo. John Leguizamo was a regular guy. He was a guy that was reasonable, very understandable. And then he started picking up. It's like, I think the Puerto Ricans were looking at Black Lives Matter like, hey, we want to beg. Hey, we want to beg too. I remember when John Leguizamo, before he lost his mind, I used to talk to John Leguizamo on Twitter. We follow each other. We used to talk every once in a while, you know what I'm saying? But never come on the show. scared. It's a lot of stars and celebrities like that. But John Leguizamo kind of went down the same road, man. This is what happens, man. There was money to be made and bags that had been handed out. Then I saw John Leguizamo doing a tour educating the world about how all the achievements and contributions of Latino Americans. So what happened is people sat back and they watched BLM pick up all this money. But see, BLM, black people didn't pick up all this money. Those organizations picked up all this money. That's who picked up the money, dog. We didn't get nada. We got nada. You will get nada too. You will get used and abused and served like hell till one day you're found dead, hung in your cell. That's what will happen. Don't let the powers that be trick you into this being, you thinking that this is the way to do it. It's not. Unity is always the better way. Anything else is some BS. Hey, Fat Joe, lean back, bro. Lean back. All right, let's keep it moving, y'all. Give it up for that. Before we go any further, notice my VIPs at the bottom of the screen on my ticker. They're running. These are the people that help support the show. I'm going to shout out those members that keep the lights on in a big way. These are my VIP members on patreon.com, Tim's Take Live. I invite you all to go to patreon.com, Tim's Take Live. Be a part of the magic. Also, pick up your official Tim Black Legacy mug at timblackmug.com. Microwave ready, dishwasher safe, microwave safe, 11.3 ounces of fun here in this people politics for the people, Legacy Tim Black mug. Get yours today. timblackmug.com, timblackmug.com. Are we loosened up? Are we loosened up now? Are we ready? Getting a little workout on. Okay, check this out, guys. Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk stepped in it. Vivek Ramaswamy, Elon Musk make waves across X as the debate about H1B visas blows up. Check it out.
Tonight, as President-elect Donald Trump is preparing for a widespread immigration crackdown when he takes office 25 days from now, we're seeing a crack between some of his top advisors and his MAGA base. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are both facing major blowback from their own supporters for not only backing, but encouraging offering more visas to highly skilled foreign workers. Over the Christmas holiday, Musk posted this online saying, think of this like a pro sports team. If you want your team to win the championship, you need to recruit top talent wherever they may be. He later added, I'm referring to bringing in, via legal immigration, the top 0.1% of engineering talent as being essential for America to keep winning. He's talking about H1B visas, which allow employers to hire highly skilled foreign workers. Musk, who himself is from South Africa, said that he once had this kind of visa, and he's arguing that Silicon Valley is facing a shortage of excellent engineering talent, as he put it. But the annual cap on those kinds of visas right now is at $65,000, with another $20,000 for those who get a master's or a doctorate in the U.S. Musk is being backed up by his partner in Trump's government efficiency initiative, Vivek Ramaswamy. He says it's a cultural issue that there aren't more competitive engineers in the U.S. Here's what he said online. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers. A culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World or Zach and Slater over Screech and Saved by the Bell or Stefan over Steve Urkel in Family Matters will not produce the best engineers. But that argument is not going over well with Trump's MAGA base. Certainly.
No, it shouldn't, and it's not. I got to cut in here, guys. And it's not going over well with the base. It shouldn't go over well with Americans. But you get what you pay for. Yeah, what did you think Vivek was on? This is it. Hey, this is the problem you have when you want to support businessmen. Yeah, when you want to go after businessmen and say businessmen are going to be good for the economy, you forget America's not an economy. It has an economy. America is a society. Yeah. And so in that society, there are people. And these are people's lives. He's thinking about profits. And what he's saying is really very much anti-American, also anti-worker, and anti-realistic about the challenges that people face. Vivek Ramaswamy is not interested in solving the problems of the people. He's interested in making more money for himself and the corporations. This is the detrimental side of rocking with businessmen. Because businessmen are focused on profits. This is the difference. This is the difference, guys. See? And so you get what you pay for. I was one of those people critical of Vivek Ramaswamy. And Coulter said this guy never vote for him because he is Indian. He will never put America's first. That's what she meant culturally, right? Culturally, he's not in America, so therefore, how can we rock with this guy? I mean, he's American, but his culture is Indian. His people are from India. His parents are from India. So that's what she used against him, right? That's what she said. At the end of the day, it's not that. That's not it. Though I was glad she took Vivek down a peg or two, the reality is he's not for people. He's not for people. He's for corporations. He's for CEOs. He's for profits. So you cannot take out the human element. The human element, the social element, is more important, even more important than the corporate element, than the profit element. And when people start fooling themselves, when people fool themselves into believing that it is more important to make X amount of profit over the people, then we got a problem. And that's why we have a problem. And I'm glad MAGA saw this.
Years. A culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World, or Zach and Slater over Screech and Saved by the Bell, or Stefan over Steve Urkel and Family Matters will not produce the best engineers.
He's talking about 90s shows. He's talking about 90s shows as if this shit got something to do with real life. Yeah, but all those people that you named were the stars of those shows, weren't they? Weren't they like the big time people in the shows? Like, who do we remember from Screech? Screech Saved the Bell. Screech was the guy. He was the guy that went on to make the paper. What's the other guy doing? The pretty boy, remember that? What's he doing? Still hosting like talk shows or something? I don't know. Steve Urkel. Urkel was the only person from Family Matters, except for the dad that went on to do much that I even recall, dude. So like, I'm not understanding this full thing. These were shows. These were shows. These were Hollywood. This was not people. Parents want their kids to have great educations. The problem is Vivek doesn't want to address the actual problem, which is how much education costs, the availability for jobs of people, even when they do pursue those educations. See, we start getting into the weeds of all the things that are in people's ways. And you want politicians, not necessarily businessmen, you want politicians to try to move the impediments and the obstructions out of the way of the people so that people can be more successful. Vivek is not interested in that. Okay, I'm going to let it go a little bit further. I'm sorry. Let's let it go a little further, Tim.
But that argument is not going over well with Trump's MAGA base, certainly not online. Some of them saying, we did not ask them to engineer an immigration policy. Tech wants indentured servants, not high-skilled workers. You don't even know what MAGA immigration policy is. Now, Trump himself, who I should note restricted H1B visas in his first term, has said on the campaign trail this time around that he did want to make it easier for educated foreigners to work in the U.S.
What I want to do and what I will do is you graduate from a college, I think you should get automatically as part of your diploma a green card to be able to stay in this country. And that includes junior colleges too. Anybody graduates from a college, you go in there for 2 years or 4 years. If you graduate or you get a doctorate degree from a college, you should be able to stay in this country.
My political sources tonight are former New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio, CNN political commentator and Republican strategist Shermichael Singleton, and also CNN economics and political commentator Catherine Rampell. And Catherine, you have covered this issue for a long time. Can you just lay out what we're looking at here in this divide between what Elon Musk says he thinks would be the best for the United States and why we are seeing something that we have not seen, frankly, almost at all lately, which is a lot of people in the MAGA universe outright disagreeing with him, arguing with him, and breaking with him online?
So Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy in this particular case, I think, are exactly right. America's ability to attract talent from around the world is basically our economic superpower. The fact that, in particular, we've been able to attract high-skilled immigrants quite reliably in this country over the past century or so is why we have this enduring leadership in science, tech, and business. So just as an example, of all Fortune 500 companies, about half of them were founded by immigrants or the children of immigrants. And of the Nobel laureates, American Nobel laureates who have received prizes for the hard sciences this century, about 40% of them are immigrants who came to this country. So again, this is our superpower, and I'm very glad that Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy recognize it. I very much hope that they are able to influence Donald Trump on this particular issue, but I'm doubtful about it because, just as you mentioned, in his first term, Trump was actually quite hostile to legal immigrants, in particular, by the way, high-skilled legal immigrants. He made it really hard for them to come here, not just those who wanted work authorization, international students who cross-subsidized American students, by the way. He basically harassed them and made it very difficult for them to keep their legal documents in order. That's because, as much as Trump has said, he only objects to illegal immigration, he's very much in favor of legal immigration. His policies don't bear that out, and that's partly because Stephen Miller is the one who was the architect of Donald Trump's immigration policies last time around, and will probably do so again this time around, and is unlikely to adopt the sort of Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy view of things.
Yeah, Stephen Miller's getting a huge job.
Yeah, I want people to pay attention to this woman here because this is a woman that I've seen on CNN many times. She is a liberal. She's a Democrat. And listen to how she aligns with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy on this. We need more immigration. We need more immigration. We need to welcome more of these people. And she's making a case why we should not be training up Americans, why we should not be investing more in the education of Americans, but we should just shortcut that and go elsewhere to bring in people that are basically indentured servants. Let's exploit them. There's always a trick in the bag. I want people to pay attention to this. This is why we say we got to stop looking at the parties. Stop looking at parties. This is a Democrat who will say, I'm for the working class, but she ain't trying to make a pathway for working class to get into engineering positions, is she? She's not championing for more educational systems, more pathways for us to develop skills to be able to meet these demands ourselves. Instead, what she's doing, she's advocating for working around and going around and underpaying top talent from other countries and then locking them into those positions. Thusly, locking Americans out.
In the West Wing, he's been around Trump for the 4 years he was out of office. Yeah. And Shermichael, as the Republican here, I wonder what your view on this is, because this is happening within the Republican Party. I mean, these are two top advisors to Trump, the MAGA world, who are kind of framing this as the true believers who say, we asked for stricter immigration policies. That didn't mean coming with a carve out for high-skilled workers that they say are taking American jobs here.
Yeah, look, I think with all due respect to Mr. Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, they should focus on saving federal dollars for the taxpayers and not immigration policy. I understand some of the points that Catherine made, and I agree to an extent. But I think the U.S. should focus more on domestic skill development. Studies also show that H1B exacerbates employers hiring individuals from outside of the country when they could potentially hire minorities, for an example, which we know there's a shortage in the STEM fields. There are a significant number of Americans who I think would love opportunities if they had the proper training and skills to operate in those jobs fairly well. So why not start and focus there? I'm not of the support or mindset, Caitlin, that we should let in more than the 60,000+ that were already let into the country. Do we have some deficits? I certainly understand that point, again, to what Catherine was sort of alluding to. But I think by focusing on increasing domestic skill development, you can decrease the furtherance of those deficits by virtue of saying, you know what, we're going to spend more of our time, more of our dollars educating our own citizens to compete for these jobs versus saying, let's increase to 100,000 or maybe even more for employers to bring in individuals from India, which is a predominant country where many of them come from. I don't agree with that at all. And I think folks in the MAGA world have every right to be angry with Vivek and Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's right too. I'd like to give it up for Sir Michael Singleton for bringing up this point. Look, guys, yeah, like once they said 65,000 workers are allowed in. That's a lot of people. 25,000 for people with masters and doctorates. That's 85. That's 85,000. 90,000. I'm sorry, 90,000. That's not enough. That's not enough people coming in. I don't understand. Okay, so we got a deficit in the amount of Americans that are able to fulfill these job opportunities. What is that supposed to mean? It's supposed to mean that we need to go back and we need to take a look at our systems. Why are we not producing the amount of people that are necessary to fulfill these jobs? And it also brings up a point that's very much been repeated in the history here in America, which is, we'll start saying things are cultural issues as opposed to issues of the system trying to benefit itself and those corporations working the system to its advantage. The system is set up the way that it is, and it renders the effects that it renders. That's what produces the results that you have. You need to change those systems, but instead they want to blame the people and say it's cultural. It's cultural. Sounds a lot like Bill O'Reilly. Sounds a lot like Larry Elder talking about a certain group of people as known as Black Americans for everything that's whatever ails Black people is always deemed or put into a cultural perspective. Never part of the system. One of the things I want people to see with this channel that I've been working on very hard, that I try to connect the dots on, a lot of the same arguments are used against all of us. And the problem is, people don't recognize those arguments until they're directed to them. So when the system or when the elites turn their guns on the Blacks, people go see the Blacks. There's always something wrong with them. They don't get it. They need to work harder. That's their problem. But then when they turn their guns on the LGBT, they go, oh my God. Okay, the LGBT, you need to do this or do that. When they turn the guns on, in this case, white Americans, because that's really what they're talking about. They're not talking about diversity. They're not talking about Black Americans, minorities. I hate that term, minority, Singleton. Ugh. Shemichael, minority. But when the elites and when the system, when the corporations, when the thriving class turns their guns on the working class, they're doing the same thing. They're going, oh, the working class just needs to work harder. And unfortunately, some of the people in the working class also have members of their group that are in the thriving class. So they want to adopt this mindset because they hope that at some point they're in the thriving class too. Here's the deal. No, majority of you will not make it to the thriving class unless we change the system. The culture's broke, but they offer no remedies to fix it. No ways to repair it, and don't even talk about how it got broke. They just say it's broke, so we got to do this. It's broke, so, we got to lock everybody up. Oh, it's broke, so therefore we have to, take the man out the home, or therefore we need to send more people to war, or therefore, in this case, go to India, recruit more people from India and from China. Let's keep going. I got a couple more clips.
Straight to our panel. Scott Jennings, I don't want to go into a deep dive of Saved by the Bell with you. I have no doubt you have an encyclopedic knowledge. of it. It just seems like something you would have an encyclopedic knowledge of. But I think the bigger picture here, because on the policy, this is a huge issue that has long existed in terms of a division between certain parts of the Republican Party. And then also on the coalition, the political coalition. The president-elect won the popular vote in large part because he was able to put together these two very key components of the coalition. How long-standing and potentially harmful do you think this fight could get?
Let me just start with Kelly Kapowski, if you're listening. Hi. Number two, look, there's always been a push and pull on this in the Republican Party, and I think there's a way to work this out and solve it. I mean, I think what a lot of people would say is, and Elon Musk was making this point, if you take like the top 1% or the top 0.1% of the most talented engineering people from other countries, that's perfectly fine. H1B visas for that. They're unique. They have unique talent, unique innovative skills, fine. If you're using the H1B program to abuse it, to recruit, interns, accountants, other people that easily could be recruited from the United States of America, all because you just want to do it cheaper, that's not fine. So I think what a lot of people in the party want to do is eliminate the fraud in this H1B program, retain the top engineering talent, and there's a way to do this. What Ramaswamy did yesterday was not a great communications exercise, and it did anger a lot of people in the president's coalition, and I think rightfully so.
Guys, I appreciate you pulling that.
Yeah, and I get where Scott Jennings is going with this. That beginning of that, I don't know what the broadcaster was doing, like really kissing up to Scott Jennings, but Scott's right, and I'm not going to say he's right. I'm going to say I understand what he's saying when he says, well, it's 0.1%. Well, 0.1%, we're already at those numbers. We're already at those numbers with the 65,000, with the additional 25,000. We're at those numbers, and we get that. It's just so many people that know how to split the atom the correct way. I get that. If you're talking about very specific positions, a very limited number of those positions, you got to have the top talent for that. I get that, but that's not the problem. Is when you deprioritize fixing the system. If we mitigate it, if we work around the problem, then people don't have an incentive to fix the system. Scott, if we work around the problem and we don't fix the problem, but if we find a workaround, people are going to keep going to the workaround. We have to have the same tenacity, the same dedication, the same focus on fixing the problem, which would eliminate the need for the workaround. But as long as the workaround is keeping the money going in the pockets, there will be very few incentives, very little progress made on eliminating what is causing us to need a workaround to begin with. So unless we create a launch pad to launch Americans into these positions, unless we restructure our system. See, and that's the problem I had. I opened this up by saying businessmen are not working for the people, they work for the businesses. This is the problem. When everyone was clapping, Ramaswamy's so smart, Elon Musk is so successful. Why? You don't become as successful, as rich as Elon Musk by worrying about people. I mean, it can be simpler. It can be more basic. What do you expect him to do? This is who he is. How do you become the richest man in America? By not worrying about people. Now you expect him to worry about people? Let's go to this last clip by Michael Singleton. I think he has a good end note on this.
Inherited an amazing thing as Americans. And it appears to me that we're not handing off what we've inherited to the next generation. And so again, the question for us, that burden for our leaders is, what can you do to make sure that the future generations can compete against other countries such as China? Bringing in more people is not the answer. It's a Band-Aid to a longer term problem.
Well, one thing
Bam! There it is. It's a Band-Aid to a longer term problem, but you have to have the actual willingness to go forward and fix the problem. And as long as the hands are out and money has been put in the pockets of the rich, the elite, the corporations, the CEOs, and they have enough surrogates to go out and keep spreading the word of the propaganda to keep us maintaining the system, which is not achieving the results we want, this is going to continue. But one of the beautiful things about this, and this is the thing that I've been trying to point out in my content, one of the things about MAGA that I like is that it's not a monolith. Yeah. When I looked at the liberals on these various networks that were addressing this situation, all the liberal Democrats were like, yeah, we need the product. We need the people from India. We need. Because the word on high is to go with the immigration, is to go with the outsourcing. That's the neoliberal agenda, Johnson. So they're all going to be lock in step with that. But MAGA, I said this, MAGA will go against MAGA or people that say they're MAGA when they lose sight of the vision. You don't get that in Democrats. You don't get that with Democrats, not to that extent where they are willing to get their own up out the paint in that way on these issues. They fall right in line with any globalist agenda. And that's actually what their agenda is. See, sometimes black folks get caught up in their identity stuff and not realizing you're not the identity that they're fighting for. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've heard black people call black people who voted for Trump sellouts. Spoons. Forgetting that Joe Biden is a white man as well. As if Joe Biden has a very, some type of pigmentation issue. Now, so I don't even get that, but they do it. Man, a few black places in high spaces, a few black faces in high spaces, and that change the actual position, the actual directive of that organization, which is open up the border, which is give out the visas, which is globalization, which is if you got the people that are losing on the bottom, which is Black America for the most part in America, step over the bodies and keep it moving. Step over the bodies, keep it moving, and order a video off of a Prime Video or whatever. Step over the bodies and keep it moving. Throw them in jail. We don't got time for them. They're losers. Let's keep the party going, and let's keep it moving. That's the problem. And I'm telling you, until we stop letting ourselves be divided by Democrat, Republican, MAGA, and liberal, progressive, whatever that stuff is, I don't even rock with those labels. I'm just Tim Black. That's it. I'm Tim. That's all you need to know. You can say I'm black. That's it. Let's just move forward, looking at the issues for what they are. Get out the box of these labels and realize these labels are used to confuse us. So say what you want to say about MAGA. I know I do, but I like the fact they're challenging Ramaswamy. They're challenging the richest man who helped their president get elected. Would I see y'all challenging Kamala Harris? No. I got people right now. I'm gonna cover a segment. We got these liberals and these progressives, so-called progressives and lefties, arguing at each other, going at each other. Then they all voted for Kamala. They all supported Kamala. But they're arguing about who now will listen or sit and talk with the right or conservatives? What the? Oh, so now you want to stand on principle. Now you're so principled. No. Look, man, MAGA is going after the richest man in the country. Some say top 3 in the world, in the history of the world. And you assholes couldn't go after Kamala. Because social pressure. Because Trump is over there. Orange man bad. He, Hitler, and Mussolini, and Idi Amin wrapped up into one. Miss me with the BS. And this is why I'll never join either side, because it's garbage. You don't need a side, you need the truth. Focus on the truth. And the truth, it won't set us free, but it'll get us a lot closer than where we've been. All right, guys, let's keep it moving. Give it up for that. Tell you, man. Okay, so look, if you're not a member of the Tim Black Show, hit the subscribe button, cut on all your notifications. Hit the subscribe button, cut on your notifications. If you're on the Facebook, or if you're on Twitter X, yes, I'm back to streaming there. It just seemed goofy not to be everywhere you could be. But come over, hit the like button on the YouTube side, please. Come hit the like button on the YouTube app, please. Can we keep it moving? Yes, let's keep it moving, Johnson. We're over here. We are here, family. We're here in the house. What a way to end the week. Okay, let's do this, man. Okay. Sometimes we get caught up in the optics. We get caught up in the news cycle. And we determine who's good or who's bad by who they get to stand next to at any given time. That's how we kind of decide politically who we're going to rock with. It's a weird thing. And that's the power of the media, right? There's a clip of Mayor Eric Adams. Fresh off his, I don't know what that was, perp walk with Luigi Mangione. He's in the subway station talking about the woman that was burnt alive. And he's asking questions.
We're here at 34th Street in Herald Square after a terrible incident. An innocent person is on the subway system. She was burned to death. And I wanted to just speak with everyday New Yorkers. Got to be on the ground if you're going to understand the things that are impacting people on the ground. What do you think we can do to make people feel safer? What do you think we can do to make people feel safer? What do you think?
I think more police.
On the trains, on the cars themselves.
I think the police should actually do something, because most of the time they're kind of on their phone or something.
When you ride the system, do you see people dealing with mental health illness?
Yes.
How do you think the best way to handle that?
I don't even know, because I'm like, nobody does nothing. They just let them, what they do, they just
pass by.
Pass by, yeah.
I know they don't have anywhere warm to stay because it's kind of cold out, but like they're also endangering civilians, you know, and we don't really do anything, and when they act out, it's kind of scary.
We're under a tunnel, what can we do, you know?
Right.
We need somebody to secure us.
Okay. We want to continue to be out here and hear from everyday New Yorkers, because people can not only be safe, they must feel safe.
What's this guy talking about? Mayor Eric Adams says, what will make you feel safer? Be safe. Being safe is what makes people feel safe. The actual appearance of being safe, the actual visual representation of safe is what makes people feel safe. At the end, he says something crazy I don't understand. He says, people don't just want to feel, they don't want to just be safe. They need to feel it, as if people are just crazy, thinking that they're not safe. You're actually safe, but you don't feel safe. You're safe, but you don't feel it. And that's a personal thing. We got to figure out how we get past the mental roadblock that's keeping you thinking that your life is in danger. Let's unpack this for just a quick moment. No, Mayor Eric Adams. That's not the problem. See, the problem is with something grotesque as what happened on your New York subway station occurs, it gets massive coverage. That massive coverage leaves an indelible mark on the minds of all the riders of that metro. Not to mention they've also experienced whatever they've experienced on the metro. Okay? So them seeing violence, threats, lewdness, whatever it is, cops ineffective or lack of security at those times or whatever, all of that's in the mix. That experience and that witnessing of experience is what creates the fear. The way you make people safer is to get them further away from instances of unsafeness. Yeah, the way you make them safe is you get them further and further away of instances, whether they experience themselves or secondhand or watch on TV or on their phones, of people being unsafe in your system. And the only way to do that is to make the system safer. How do you do that? You put more police in those areas. You also work with your authorities, you work with the agencies to help people with mental health issues. That's what you have to do. And you also have to put in mechanisms within the system which would treat those underground tunnels with the priority they deserve because the sentence of the citizens being vulnerable in those situations. So no, it's not a mental block. People do not have a delusion of being unsafe. They're physically unsafe. They witness it. They've seen it. They've experienced it. They've heard about it, talked about it. It's a reality. So change reality and it will change feelings. You don't change feelings without changing reality. And it only takes one new incident to put you back where you were. Hope that helps. All right, guys. Hit the like button if that makes sense. Next. What the hell is this? Okay. So we did a Fat Joe update. This is going to recap where we are. So far we done Fat Joe's update. We done Vivek Ramaswamy, Mayor Eric Adams. Okay, let's do this one real quick. Okay. This, I don't think I have any accompanying media with this. This is just a monologue. A man by the name of Robert Brooks was beaten by correctional officers at the Marcy Correctional Facility in upstate New York, punching and kicking a handcuffed inmate in a fatal beating is now under investigation by the New York Attorney General. Robert Brooks was pronounced dead on December 10th at Wynn Hospital in Utica. Mr. Brooks, 43, had been serving a 12-year prison sentence since 2017 for first-degree assault. So there's footage that's out there that's very disturbing. Body cam footage of a room of police officers and Mr. Brooks handcuffed and then beating him and beating him and beating him. At one point, an officer appears to shove something in Brooks' mouth before repeatedly hitting him in the face. Another officer then punches Brooks in the groin before using a shoe to strike him. Attorney General Letitia James made a statement that she will use every possible tool available to us to investigate this death thoroughly and swiftly. She said 40 officers involved were wearing body cameras, but did not activate them. So the cameras did not record audio of the incident. So the footage that I did see did not include audio. These videos are shocking and disturbing, and I advise all to take appropriate care before choosing to watch them. So they're investigating this, but if you watch that video, you're going to come to the same conclusion. And I want to say, I'm very thankful that a number of people that I've seen who have watched that video have come to a unanimous decision that what they saw there was torture, that it led to the death of Mr. Brooks, that this is totally unacceptable. No one that I saw was questioning what happened before the cameras were cut on. What did he do? Who did he assault that put him there? No, because when you've got, it looked like about 6 or 7 police officers in a room with one person handcuffed behind his back and them taking turns hitting him. Well, I guess we should already be able to make our minds up about what we're seeing. We're seeing a murder. We're seeing a torture on film. It's very clear. New York officials say they condemn the beating. Governor Kathy Hochul says she's outraged and horrified after seeing footage of the senseless killing of Robert Brooks and yada, yada, yada. People saying the same old things. The State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision also denounced the attack. The commissioner said he had instituted a daily audit to ensure body cameras are being properly activated. I guess that's not working. The Brooks family has reviewed the body camera footage of the beating. As expected, watching the horrific and violent moments of Robert's life was devastating for his loved ones. In a statement on Sunday, the union that represents New York corrections officers described the footage of the beating as incomprehensible, to say the least, and certainly not reflective of the great work that the vast majority of our membership conducts every day. Here's the deal, guys. I do not believe that they meant to kill Mr. Brooks. No, that was not the intention. The intention was a beatdown. Mr. Brooks lost consciousness and never regained consciousness. And it's important to look at it that way, because this means that there's probably a number of beatings just like this that have taken place that just did not lead to death. Therefore, there was no investigation, brushed under the rug, it never happened. That's the problem. So you got this institution that obviously none of those officers are going, oh my God, what are we doing? I saw no visible reluctance. I saw no officer walking away wondering with any body expression, anything I could read in his body movements that would tell me they felt trepidation about what they were doing. No, they were gleeful. They looked to be enjoying themselves. There was no shock flushed on the faces of those correctional officers. And what I'm trying to get to is that this is the operation of those corrections officers. This is how they get down, fam. It's a disguise it or dress it up and make a cornball statement that this is not reflective of what we do. No, it's exactly reflective of what you do. It is just an exposing of what you do. Yeah, it's not that this is a new occurrence. It's not that we just saw Elvis. It's not like we just saw Bigfoot. It's not that Michael Jackson just came back to moonwalk one more time. No, the fact of the matter is, it's caught on film and it's been exposed. That's it. That's all. This is how they operate. And when we say to you, when we say, my people that are watching, my conservatives that are watching, when we complain about the system, this is what we're complaining about. Just because you don't get to see this type of film often doesn't mean this doesn't happen often. Okay? Some people are delusional. It's time for you to wake up and recognize this is the system that we want to change, because we know these activities are not one-offs. All right. I'll keep you up to date about what happens with Robert Brooks' beating and the murder of Robert Brooks. My condolences to the family of Robert Brooks. Next. I don't know what to tell you about this story, except when I saw it, I could not believe that this is happening to this extent. And then I stepped back and I said, well, you know what? I don't think that this is really that rare. And sometimes media exploits things. I know you're not used to this. Sometimes media exploits things for clicks, and they try to hype it up a little bit further than it needs to be. We got a story of a New York Police Department cop who received a lot of free overtime, apparently from work they didn't really do. And when we talk about the amount of overtime, it's going to be staggering.
Another scandal rocking the NYPD. The department's highest-ranking uniformed officer resigned Friday night after a bombshell allegation of sexual misconduct on the job. Former Chief of Department Jeffrey Madry is accused of trading sexual favors for overtime. Derek Waller, live tonight outside NYPD headquarters in Lower Manhattan with the details. Derek.
Jessica, Lieutenant Quafisha Epps filed a complaint today with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. This comes after she actually filed for early retirement earlier this week. And basically, I can tell you that many of these details are disturbing. She says the abuse started last year and continued until this week. Chief of Department Jeffrey Maddrey just appeared a few days ago in front of the City Council's Public Safety Committee to defend the department's use of stop and frisk. Now a major shakeup. Lieutenant Quathisha Epps alleges between June 2023 and this past Monday, Maddrey engaged in efforts to coerce her into performing unwanted sexual favors in exchange for overtime opportunities. She says that included intercourse in the office. According to publicly available payroll data, Lieutenant Epps made a salary last year of over $164,000, but after overtime was factored in, she took home more than $400,000. After refusing his advances in October, she says Maddrey retaliated by orchestrating an intentionally manipulated monthly overtime report, which resulted in a criminal and internal investigation opened against her. Her attorney adds systemic failures within the NYPD allowed Chief Maddrey's predatory behavior to continue unchecked, culminating in his promotion to the department's highest uniform position by Mayor Eric Adams, despite a well-documented history of misconduct and abuse of power. Mayor Eric Adams' office issued this statement that reads, "We are deeply disturbed by these allegations, and the NYPD is investigating this matter." Mayor Adams is working in close coordination with Police Commissioner Tisch as the NYPD conducts a separate department-wide review to ensure no high-ranking officers are using their power inappropriately. We will refrain from commenting further to avoid jeopardizing either investigation. Lieutenant Epps also claims that Maddrey had an inappropriate relationship with another female detective. I can tell you that these allegations have now gotten the attention of the city's Department of Investigation as well as the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. They are investigating this. And as for the NYPD, John Chell, who was the chief of patrol, is going to take over as interim chief of department. Reporting live outside NYPD headquarters, Derek Waller, CBS News, New York.
All right, Derek, thank you.
Okay. First thing, Quathisha Epps. Not an on-duty police officer that you think of when you think of someone going out on the beat to do work. She worked in an administrative capacity. So all of this overtime, and we're talking about over $200,000 worth of overtime. She got that by running errands and other BS. Do you realize how much time you got to work to get $200,000 of overtime? That's a lot of overtime. And when I read the testimony, when this thing finally came to light, when the testimony came out, it is very graphic. I can't even share with you the details of that testimony, or this video will get, definitely be shut down. But let's just say, if what she alleged, these are only her allegations, right? But those allegations are very damning allegations made about Maddrey is his name. Okay. So Jeffrey Maddrey, the high-ranking official. So the other thing about this story is this is not the only person. Like, it's the one that people focus on because she's a black woman. Well, it's a woman. She was a subordinate. It has all the hallmarks of a story that's going to do very well, right? Because, it's powerful person, it's subordinate person being taken advantage of. But there are other officers that are caught up in this as well. They made over $100,000 in overtime pay. Now the MIP's cracking down. Commissioner Jeffrey Tisch has reassigned at least 29 officers. Some worked under Maddrey. So this is a particular woman who worked under Maddrey that they're saying had the most money, made the most money of any officer in the NYPD. So, yeah, I'm not saying that she shouldn't have been exposed, that we shouldn't take a look at her. She's the most egregious representation of this, okay? But there are others as well. Maddrey, it's important to know, he has been hit with a number of lawsuits in disciplinary investigations, including accusations of sexual abuse and harassment by at least 3 subordinates in the New York Police Department. So, aside from Quathisha, there are 3 other women making the same allegations about Mr. Maddrey or Officer Maddrey, who also resigned. He resigned, and now, he resigned his position. It's shocking, said a retired New York Police Department chief who asked to remain anonymous. How did Maddrey get away with what he did years ago? A black detective who recently retired ripped Maddrey for undermining the work of minorities on the force. We were making such great strides in bringing crime back to normal. All people are going to remember now is that one of the highest ranking members of the police department is a horn dog. So, as I pointed out, Quathisha Epps claims in an exclusive interview that he routinely preyed upon her, asking for sex in NYPD headquarters. Maggie began being generous with overtime pay a couple years earlier, she said, when he was chief of patrol, and she told him of her financial problems. So, yeah, I also want to point out this. Miss Epps did not bring this to the attention of ranking officials or HR until after she was being investigated for the overtime. That's important, okay? Because if someone's taking advantage of you and you do not report them, right? You do not say a word until you're on the hot seat, that ruins or that lessens the credibility of your defense. Yeah, why didn't she say something earlier? So there is no squeaky clean person in this, you know, and you were taking a lot of overtime pay. I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars were made that should not have been made of taxpayer money out of the state or the city of New York City or out of the state of New York. And you didn't report it until after you get jammed up. So now Miss Epps is going for an early retirement. So they have 30 days before she picks up what's left of her pension. And believe me, guys, she's got a really good pension she's looking at. $16,000 a month for the next 20 years. That's her pension. So New York, NYPD has to wrap up their investigation. If they're going to charge her with something or whatever they're going to do, they would challenge her pension or whatever. I don't know exactly what, right? But they got to do it quickly because now the union has the clock ticking. It's also important to note that Marjorie is good friends with Mayor Eric Adams, who just gave him a promotion 6 months ago or in 2023. Yeah, 2023. So yeah, they're good friends. They were part of some association, some black association within the New York Police Department. So yeah, they're pals, which also puts more ripples into this thing, don't it? So yeah, I'll keep you up to date what happens with this story. Notorious. Yeah, it is what it is. $200,000 worth of overtime is a lot of overtime. More than her salary. Okay. Hit the like button, guys, if you like this content, if it makes sense to you. Yeah, let's see what we have next. What's this? I don't know why that's in there. I didn't mean to grab that. Okay, last story, guys, on our agenda before we, I think it is. I got one more story. I think I do. Yeah. Last story. Progressives are beefing. They are beefing with themselves. Remember what I told you about titles. That's why we don't do titles, man. Because when you got a title and somebody else has a title, and you even if you think, oh, this is a great title to have, somebody else has the title and they make you look like horrible. Because now they got the title. You don't want people in groups. You get judged by the group. And there's nobody overseeing the group. That whole progressive thing don't make sense to me, man. I'm so glad I'm away from that nonsense. That tribalism, that stuff, man, I'm out of that. Man, it is so destructive. I can't talk to these people. These people, I can't rock with them. I can't have conversations. I got to fit into this regiment ideology, or I'm not pristine enough or whatever. There's something wrong with me if I don't believe this. And no. But what's happening now is hilarious, but it's also disgusting. So Jack Huger, we covered it. He sat down with Charlie Kirk at an event. And this has caused even additional bombshells. There were bombshells already going off It was carpet bombing. They were carpet bombing the internet because of statements that he made and him going on different platforms. But this is the kicker of all kickers. That's why they had to kill the sound on this. They're playing music. Here goes Jake walking out with Charlie Kirk. And it's like Rockstar, man. They are clapping for this guy.
Cenk, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for that warm welcome. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
So Cenk, the spirit of inviting you is that there's some confusion of these divides of right versus left, populist versus corporatist. I guess a good opening would be, as a man in the progressive movement, as one of the leaders of the progressive movement, what do you make of this last year, the state of the Democrat Party, and kind of American politics from the more progressive left perspective?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm proud to represent the left flank of the populist movement, and I think we need both flanks, so I'm happy to have this conversation. In terms of what has gone wrong in the Democratic Party, it's the same thing that went wrong in the Republican Party, but I do have to give you guys credit for a revolution well done. And what I mean by that is not a revolution against the Democratic Party or the left or the country, but a revolution against the establishment. Robots. And we've got more fights with the corporate robots to come. But out here in the woods.
Yeah, what I did there is I jumped from the beginning to the end, and this is the way they ended it.
When I see you guys, I don't hate you anymore, right? I see my fellow Americans.
Oh, God, you know, that's part of why this didn't go over well. You see them as Americans?
And so in these populist woods, we'll sometimes have skirmishes, sometimes we'll have battles. But the main thing I'm trying to drive with the 6 points of the populist plank, higher wages for Americans, time off for moms after they have a baby, anti-corruption,
totally agree with that.
anti-war. The reason
Audit the Pentagon.
Oh, yes. So the reason I picked those is not because they're the most left-wing positions, because those are the positions we all agree on, right? And God help the establishment if we actually work together to do those things. And finally, to the heart of your question, Charlie, you know, I proposed on X, cut the Pentagon, make sure the generals cannot work for the military-industrial complex afterwards, and free Edward Snowden.
I agree.
Yeah, you know, I'm listening to this thing, man, and I know people are upset about it. People on there. Listen, man. Cenk Uygur is a CEO of a media company that's not small, worth millions of dollars, called TYT. It's been operating over 20 years. And he originated as a Republican. So as a Republican, before he started out, how many people knew that Cenk Uygur was a Republican when he first started out, who then transitioned to become a Democrat and then a progressive? Yeah, so he did not turncoat into anything. And he's here saying he's not turncoating, but it's getting played by working with these people. He's working with, talking with, having conversations with Charlie Kirk. Now look, Charlie Kirk has said a lot of things and stood for a lot of things I totally disagree with. But some of the people that are calling out Cenk for talking with Charlie Kirk, we're not calling out other people when they talk to people. And that's why I've been tired of the Democrats and these liberals and the progressives and all this nonsense, because none of it means anything. Our personal feelings about who other people should talk to, what does that even mean? There are even people like Kyle Kalinske that are calling out Cenk for talking with Charlie Kirk and not challenging him enough, who sat next to me, who sat on stage with me and Tommy Lauren. We were on stage with Tommy Lauren, and I was the only one that challenged her. And you sat back being congenial. You sat back being nice guy. And let me go after her and just sat there like I was being rude. But I could not sit with Tommy Lauren without addressing issues. But that's me. You know, Tim Black just keeping it real because I can't go back to my people after sitting with Tommy Lauren and not address her on the bullshit she said. But Jake, I guess he can. And Kyle Kalinske could. And this is the thing. None of this matters anymore. It's all gone. I see Mark Lamar Hill pissed off about Jake, and they had a conversation, and Mark was all pissed. It was very lively about, why does Jake sit down and talk to Charlie Kirk? And you're supposed to be progressive. Yeah, you sat down and talked to Candace Owens. The same black people that were jumping out the gym about Palestinians weren't jumping out the same gym for black Americans. And not to the same extent. And there were people defending other people who were sitting down with Boogaloo Boys, and it was a whole, look, at the end of the day, I feel like all of this is just a distraction from the reality that, yeah, different people could agree on certain things. And if you are part of the Democratic Party or if you supported Kamala Harris, I don't think you have a leg to stand on to criticize anybody else for their beliefs or who they talk to. I mean, I think talking with Joe Biden or talking with Kamala or talking with anybody that will work with those campaigns is pretty much the same as talking to Charlie Kirk. I don't see much difference. But, of course, they're going to find ways to justify what they do and condemn what others do. But there's always room to condemn you for the same thing. How could you be a part of every neoliberal platform on the internet that misleads black people into a horrific party, and then you come for someone for talking with a right-winger? Man, HuffPost is garbage. So is MSNBC. So is CNN. But you all would go on that platform or have been on that platform. Did you go out in a blaze of glory calling out MSNBC when you had an opportunity to be there? Were you willing to stick a fork in the throats of the garbage media when you were on those platforms? Or did you use those platforms to try to eke out an existence or to try to further your own careers? Only you can answer that question. I don't even want to put names to this, because it don't matter. The majority of my audience is not even fixated on this. They probably don't even know what the hell I'm talking about as I bring up these certain entities. But for those that do know, this is for you. Look, it's about what we get done. If you don't unequivocally stand on your square and support working class Americans, in word and deed, then I really don't understand what you would have any complaints about how somebody else rolls, other than to position yourself in a favorable slot to try to jockey for position within this burning orifice of the Democratic Party. This hollowed out, dead, dying party that needs to go. I'm very clear. The Democratic Party has to go. I need to get all my people out the Democratic Party to help it die. So any clapping that you do when Trump and MAGA fall down and they have disagreements don't mean shit to me. The Democratic Party has to go because that is a party where 95% of black people vote for every year, no matter who's running. And that has to stop. I'm very unequivocal about that, very, very clear. Doesn't mean become a Republican. It means we need to create more parties. And the only way we're going to do that is letting go of the Democratic Party. It's out of necessity. Which kind of points back when we were talking about the H1B visas. If everyone has a workaround to keep on getting talent from other countries, that will keep us not developing talent and creating systems that create engineers, advanced engineers in this country, in America. So as long as you stay with the Democratic Party, that's a lesser likelihood that we're going to create another party to take its place. Okay? Put a bow on this. I don't give a shit who Cenk Uygur talks to. He was with the Republicans, then he was with the Democrats. The guy supported Joe Biden. I mean, what are we really talking about? If you don't understand who he was by doing that, and if you're someone who did that yourself, I'm wondering what the hell you got a problem with right wing for. I don't understand why you got a problem with Trump. Trump was a Democrat. Get it? At the end of the day, it's about finances. I think black people need to get their money right and not worry about getting their Democrat or Republican voter registration right. Get your money right. Let's work on getting that. Let's work on working class issues that matter to people, like food on the table and being able to live indoors. Let's worry about our housing. Let's worry about our medical. Let's worry about our food. Let's worry about our air. Let's worry about our water. Let's worry about not being mass incarcerated. Let's worry about keeping our babies fit, alive, and educated. And let's worry about us being able to be upperly mobile, because you can't do nothing broke. And we'll let these dum-dums fight about who's the better progressive or the better liberal or the better Democrat or the better Republican or even the better MAGA. All right. My name's Tim Black. You know where to find me, Tim at TimBlackTV.com. Everything else is a distraction, family. And until we wake up and see that, we're in a hell of trouble. Now let's go to comment section. Who is out there? We got some people that came through. Ira Gordon. I've been a software developer for 24 years. H1Bs be short-stopping my bread. They work for $20,000, $30,000 less than an American IT professional. Yes, they do. It's the same hustle with immigration, for mass immigration, that Joe Biden opened up the border for. But these people don't want to see it, and they support it. And they're dumb enough to be duped, my brother, Ira. They're dumb enough to be duped by this idea. We do it to help them. We're only undercutting workers in America to help the people realize their dreams. It's a lot of people stuck on stupid. And some people not that stupid, just stuck on their own pockets. Black Mama in the house. Thank you, Black Mama, for being here. Megs, thank you, Megs. One Tall Girl, 78, says, H1B visas are for exclusive world 1%. I just learned this today. Let's read this together, guys. H1B visas are for exclusive world 1% top talent skills. The H1 visas is for skill with a bachelor's degree, not exclusive. Not exclusive, not exclusive. To tech, the top 10 challenge should be on H1, not H1B. Bam! I just learned this today. Thank you for pointing this out. Rate says, the truth won't set us free, but it'll get us a lot closer than we've been. My brother teaming with the verbal Muhammad Ali tonight. That's it, fam. Thank you, Rate. Trust No Party gave me a sticker as well. Thank you, Trust No Party. Yes. I appreciate y'all. Once again, thank you to all the people that support the channel. Thank you for getting this channel, keeping this channel going. We are in the house. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Saturday. Okay, so we'll be back Sunday. Man, we get right up here to 2025, ain't we? Jeez. Man, we've been through it. We have been through it. All right, guys, I got nothing but love for you. Have a great evening. Do your thing. I'll see you soon. Remember, don't let anybody take your cornbread. Real talk. Thank you for tuning into this. Remember, become a member of the Tim Black Show by going to patreon.com, Tim's Take Live. Good to see you there. Thank you. If you already support us, you're a part of it. Thank you. I got great things lined up for 2025. I appreciate you for riding with me. And with that, like I always say, wow. Where my ladies at? Where are my ladies?